All right, this is it. Comienzo de la sesión 188 de Tesos en Wi-Fi. Today is not Friday. We usually do these on Fridays en español, but today we have a special session on Monday. Entonces, hoy es lunes, marzo 18, el 24. Looks like we got a couple of gringos here, English speaker. We have Zac Conder. He's hoping to learn Spanish and marry a Colombian girl. So someday, man, you have a long ways to go, but hey, they'll speak the language of love, so you don't need to learn Spanish for that. And then Craig, how do you pronounce your name?
Craig, yes, Craig Wajtola.
Wajtola?
Yeah, Wajtola.
Where's that last name from? Wajtola.
Polish.
Yeah, I guess it was Polish, yes.
Yeah, so I pronounce it, call it the not correct way. Technically, I'm told it's Wajtiwa, but you know, we merged it a little bit. Wajtola.
And what do people like Americans? How do they pronounce your name?
I've heard just about every permutation. I respond just about anything with a W. Usually Wajtola.
Wajtola. Yeah, no, don't worry. They call me Fernie, Renee. You know, I stopped using my name when I go like to order fast food, because every time I say, you know, name for the order, I say Fernie. Is that Renee with an R? Like, you know what? Fred. So from now on, every time it's Fred or John or anything but Fernie, because, you know, hard to explain.
So we can call you Frey now, from now, or how we call you now, from now? We. Frey?
Me?
Yeah. So we
Me,
should call you Fernay. For the Spanish-speaking people, who will call you? Fernay?
Fernay.
I like more Frey.
Fernay. French, but I'm from Colombia, and I don't know how I ended up with a French name, but anyway, not very common. But hey, Craig, this is how it goes. We started this group in pandemic, you know, trying to figure out a way to just hang out with friends. And then every Friday we ended up meeting. We have this session number 188. Every once in a while, we have an English speaker when we have special event, but it's usually just we meet and hang out and talk. And sometimes we have to pause the recording because, you know, we say things like when you talk to your friends on Friday after work, oh man, I had a hell of a week, and then you go off and you know, blow up steam and about something, and you kind of release. And then sometimes we have to pause, and then we can review the recording. It's not that we have to have everything recorded, but this is just a space where we can just, you know, talk about stuff and hang out and learn and share and teach, because these guys are like, you know, experts of a lot of stuff. Alejandro, he's in Sweden now, in Stockholm. Then David is in Spain, Barcelona. Is that where you are, David?
Yes, correct.
Then Gabriel, you're from Panama, right, Gabriel? But you are here in the U.S.?
See, I'm from Panama, but I live in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. And then Zac, he's actually here with me in Utah. He used to be one of the minions that we call the school interns, high school interns, and he's, you know, like top guy now at a company. You travel everywhere for, is it oil company?
Yeah, it's an oil and gas company, but I do network engineering for them. So they send me all over the US to go to different gas plants and compressor stations and kind of work on their networking equipment. Yeah.
And then there's Carlos Hernandez. Carlos, ¿dónde es que estás? Carlos Hernandez.
Hi, Ferney. I'm in Valencia.
Valencia, in Spain. Joder.
So we are just in the Las Fallas, in our holidays.
Oh, they're partying, huh?
And the monuments.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us. And, you know, it just changes. So here's why we're here. I got some gear from Craig and Thomas. They came down to WLPC. Craig works for Ubiquiti. And then I'm just really excited because actually Zac is here as well, because he helped me set things up and screw things on the rack. And let me just kind of like see if I have some things in here. Let me see. Yeah, that Ubiquiti stuff. Well, here we have the Dream Machine and a 24-port Pro Max And then, Zach helped me remove, you basically replaced a Cisco switch. What was it, Zach, a 3870 or 3570? I don't know. A Cisco switch gone. And now we have these guys. Really cool. This is the side of my house. And then I have a 10 gig connection between the Dream Machine and the 24 port. And then right there, you see glowing in blue is the 2.5 gig to the man cave, which is all the way back here from the house. I'll just show you in a little bit, Craig, so you get a better idea of the network topology. And then I, this weekend, run fiber from the house to the man cave. It's about 250 feet. And I know there was a guy like, well, Ubiquiti's got an air fiber product, so you don't have to dig fiber. Like, yeah, but 10 gig, it's just, short distance. And I don't have 10 gig to my house right now from Google, but hey, I have 1 gig now. It's very possible and very likely that, we'll have 10 gig at some point, and then I'll be ready. And then, hey, 10 gig. And then when I told some of the friends last week that, hey, I got these Ubiquiti switches and Ubiquiti gear in my house, this is literally, and don't take it personal, Craig, literally what one of the guys said, like, Ubiquiti, why are you installing Ubiquiti? That's garbage. They're like, yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, man. I hope he joins the call so we can show him.
I know. No, that's why it's being recorded. And you know what? But Craig, that's very important because that's telling us what people think. That's exactly what the guy felt. And he said, like, that's cheap stuff. Like, no, it's inexpensive. Let me tell you my first experience with Ubiquiti. And that was years and years ago when I was at the school district. There was a building that was being torn down across the street. And then behind that school, there was transportations and warehousing for the facility. Actually, you know what? I can probably just show you that on a map. Why not? It will make more sense. Happened that, let's see, maps. Oh, this window out here, maps, google.com. The school district is about, that's the, whoa, where am I here? I got lost. Bohemian, Sportsman's Warehouse.
You need to go more south. Yeah.
South, 90th. Oh, here we go. There's 90th. Here's 94th. And that's not it. Where am I? Right here. Right here.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. This used to be an old building and it got torn down. And we actually had, this is the district office. And from here, from this area, is where the data center is. There was fiber going across and then fed the building. And through there, we went to transportation. You see all the buses parked right here and warehousing. So what happened was that the fiber was going away. So I got me a pair of, point to point from this other vendor. Was it Ruckus, I think? Really, a couple $1,000s a piece for the units. And we set up a point to point coming to the warehouse. And then it was failing. We had to reboot it and we had issues with it. And I mean, we couldn't because we were going to run fiber. It was going to be like $80,000 to just bury it. And then it was in the winter. We had to get city permits to go across the street. I mean, it was going to be a major problem. And I said, you know what, let's do a point to point. But then with that Ruckus pair, I was not very convinced that we could provide reliable service for these guys. So guess what I did, Craig? I bought me a pair of these, I don't know, $92 antennas, like the one that I have over here, right there.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
I got me a pair of those, and that thing worked like a charm for 9 months until we had the link reestablished. 0 problems. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm sure Zach helped me install many of those because then later, every time the football fields and all these guys needed IP connectivity for phones, for Wi-Fi, for whatever. They're like, here, point to point. And then I had like stacks of these. Are those not the locos? Those are the, I don't remember the model, M5s or whatever they were. I don't know. But they were really inexpensive. And I think there's the mentality of some people, oh, that's cheap. Well, no, it's inexpensive. Yeah, it may not do certain things, but I guess we just have to know things better. Now, Zach, I'm going to start with you, amigo, because, you and I have installed, switches like enterprise, really expensive switches in buildings and high schools, and you've done it in the private sector. We've done it in many places. how was your experience with installing this? I mean, we installed the Dream Machine over there, 24 port switch and a 48 port switch on this end of the house.
I was pleasantly surprised with the experience. I'm used to installing, Cisco switches, HP, just all sorts of enterprise level switches where it's you plug the console cable in and you have like a little script and you copy and paste that into the switch and set it up that way. And that's just how it's been done for years, and I'm used to it. I'm not saying that's really a problem, but as soon as I, got these, or we set up these Ubiquiti switches and the experience was way different, I was kind of surprised, like, wait, why don't other companies do this? Why isn't it this easy for other companies? And it was, I liked it a lot. It was really simple and really easy and intuitive. And it kind of just seemed like it took a lot of the, I don't want to say confusing, but it made it really simple just to plug it in, open the app, and it just showed up right there. You click adopt, and then it's just added to your account, and then it builds the topology and shows everything. And it was just, I was impressed by it.
Yeah, pretty slick. And I know, Craig, this is not going to be our last session because there's so much here that I just want to share this with the community and stuff, and perhaps learn from you. And that's what we're going to do today. Just talk, casually about things, what I saw, what I noticed. Now, if you guys see that these things are glowing, it's because each color represents different things. Like these white ones. Craig, is that what, 1 gig?
So you can configure it to whatever you will or whatever you like, but the white, I believe, by default is a gig.
A gig. And the yellow one, fast Ethernet, I believe.
That sounds right. Yes.
And then I do know that the blue is 2.5 gig. So
right.
Just by looking at this, I can see, where I have like my 2.5 gigs. And then, David, you have a question?
Just a quick question. What's the Dream Machine? I guess it's some kind of controller.
It's a dream machine, man. Let me just. Yeah, let me tell you about it, because I'm gonna ask Greg, because I'm talking like if I knew what I'm talking about and I don't. But I'm just showing you, firsthand, kind of like what I notice here. The other thing is you install an app on the phone. Let me just probably share my screen here real quick with this guy, and then I'll come over here. And then, yes, we're going to get into a Dream Machine, into the switches, and what Zach was talking about, that it just builds a topology release. Hang on, give me 1 second. I'll bring my phone over here. And if I go to Unify, create an account, and then, hang on. What did I do? Let me just change the, oh no, here we go. This is probably better. And then you can just look at the topology. Here's where the Dream Machine is, which is like at the core, and that we have doing our DHCP, and Craig will tell us more about it. And then I ran my 10 gig link. And then here's the other thing, really impressed. In installing Cisco switches in the past, if you put in an SFP, a mini JBIC, that is not Cisco, what is it going to do, Zach? You've done it probably recently. You plug it in.
Won't work.
And then it screams and gives you a warning and says, damn, this is not Cisco, and then it doesn't work. I had some HPE 10 gig modules, put them in, and boom, no questions asked, they just worked. That's like really cool. So I have the 48 port switch right there, and then notice, it tells me on which port on the Dream Machine it's connected, port 10, and it's going to port 52 on the 48 port switch, and it has a 10 gig link. It's like, I mean, this is really helpful. Just like by looking at it, you know exactly where to where. And then the other thing we learn is that you can locate a port, and it will just turn everything off on the switch, and only that port that we want to show somebody will glow and blink. And kind of like if you're like supporting something remotely and you want somebody to plug in or unplug something from a port, you know exactly, okay, a blinky light, that's it, remove that cable or plug it in right there. And then that, I'm sure, takes a lot of the troubleshooting out of the way. It will tell you devices that you have plugged in, on which port on the switch it is, on which port of the device is plugged in, the type of connectivity, if it's gig or if it's fast Ethernet. And I mean, there's so much to it. Yes, it does a network discovery. Sometimes it discovers things that you just have to come and change the icon, change the name, but that's really, really easy to do. Down here, I have my Synology NAS connected to the Dream Machine, and I also have the 10 gig DAC connected from the Dream Machine to the 24 port in the house. Okay, so now I'm gonna move from here to the computer and kind of show over here my interface. All right, Craig.
Yes.
Ubiquiti, of course, Latin America is like paradise for it because of the affordability. It's less expensive than other devices. Thus, being less expensive means it's less of a technology, or why is it less expensive than the big players? Because that's the mentality of the big player. Oh, this is cheap. This is garbage. This is, no good for the enterprise environment. So looks like you guys are, approaching and changing that mentality. So.
And I think earlier, you nailed a key part. I don't like to refer to it as, cheap per se, but it's value. We believe on layering the different value, right? For sure, there's the upfront cost where, it's not as steep, but that's not really a testament to the flexibility and ease of use, right? We want this to be something that you can come in, that anybody can go out. It's affordable. There's not some crazy barrier to entry. You can go out, you can get it. That's, layer ones, I would say. In terms of the learning curve, we really, really, really emphasize the user experience and making it intuitive. Our founder and CEO, he's from Apple. So you guys know how Apple all is. With
that makes sense. Is that why the packaging of the boxes and stuff like Apple-esque type of thing?
Exactly.
That was, wasn't it, Zach? I was like, wow, this is so neat and well packed. And okay, that makes sense now.
Exactly, right? So, we believe on making the stuff that just works. So we really put a lot of resources, QA, like we're very intricate, both with the packaging, making sure that it is clean, it's easy to pull together, up to the setup, right? You pull up the mobile app, you use Bluetooth and just set it up and it goes. And
actually, you don't even have to look for it. The app will come up and tell you. What does that tell you, Zach? It gives you a message that says,
adopt this device.
There's a new device. You want to adopt it? It's like, yeah, and boom, that's it. It does the updates and it does everything for you.
Exactly. And, obviously this was one of the first setups you guys did, but I can tell you, as you get more into these, there's other features and stuff that we're continuing to improve upon, right? Like being able to template stuff. There's automatic cloud backups that get saved to your account. So if you're setting up a new system and you want to copy it across, you can go ahead and do that, right? It's easy and it works. I'd like to think that the interface, really helps walk you through some things that might otherwise be complex networking things that you have to really learn, take classes for. But Ubiquiti makes it easy and intuitive for you to understand that. Instead of taking months to learn about all the intricacies, it's something where, you take a day or two and then you're pretty comfortable. So that's kind of like value number 2. And then the third one is ongoing maintenance, right? Being able to see things that are wrong with your network, intelligent messaging, intelligent, notifications telling you where things can be optimized, right? That's kind of where we come in.
And then, all these visualizations help tremendously. And yes, I have a small environment. I don't know, I probably have 50 devices connected, but how these scale in the enterprise environment? Like a rack with 10 switches, stuff like that. Do you have things that you have worked on that are like at that scale? Because there's the fear that some people may have is like, yeah, it works good in your house with your TV and your, Chromecast, but what's going to happen once you throw it on an enterprise?
Yeah, totally. So the stuff definitely does scale up. The equipment that you're using the Dream Machine Special Edition. I've helped deploy these in hotel environments, very, very large scale. There's something that we have. I can't really say too much on it now, but
say what you can, man. And if you need me to pause the recording, feel free.
Sure. Yeah, but we are running full stack Unify in the FedEx Forum. So that's what, the Memphis Grizzlies NBA team, we are running full stack Unify there. We've got probably about 350 to 400 combined switches and access points, 5 to 10,000 connected clients at a time, and all of it is full stack Unify.
They were talking during WLPC about a stadium. Do you remember which stadium is it that has Ubiquiti?
It's FedEx Forum, so for Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, perfect. I did see a small convention center that we have here in Salt Lake, the Maverick Center, that had Ubiquiti APs there. How about external antennas and stuff? Do you have equipment that does that?
Definitely. Yeah, we have a couple different access points that allow you to put on external antennas, whatever type you want.
Okay. Well, let's start with the Dream Machine. I know David is anxious, like, tell me about the Dream Machine. So if I click on it, here it is. I don't know, do you need remote access, or do you want to share your screen, or what can you tell us about this device?
Yeah, so I guess taking a step back, what you're on right now, it's something that we call the Unify Site Manager. So basically, unify.ui.com, it's something that you can link up to with your own, Ubiquiti account associated with your email address, and it allows you to see the equipment at all of your different sites. It's not mandatory. There's some people who say, yeah, I don't want any involvement with the cloud, but it's what we refer to as a hybrid cloud solution. The stuff isn't living on the cloud per se. The cloud is ultimately helping you to establish that direct connection to your on-premise hardware. In terms of what is this hardware, the Dream Machine Pro, or Dream Machine Special Edition here, sorry, it's what we refer to as a cloud gateway. So ultimately, it's your network's gateway, firewall, and it's running the control plane here. So that's why we refer to it as a cloud gateway. We have other, independent gateways, which are just running, your firewall, routing, VPN, all of that stuff. But that's managed by a different Unify console. So the control plane lives somewhere else, whether that be on-premise in, say, a cloud key, which we have, or somewhere fully in the cloud, which would be, our official Unify hosting.
Okay. Alejandro, you got a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I see that there's two different models, the Special Edition and the Pro. What is the difference between these two models?
Yep. So functionally, they're the same in terms of, gateways. They both run the Unify control plane, all of that. The difference, there's three. One is going to be the WAN port. The Special Edition has a 2.5 GBE RJ45 WAN port, and the Dream Machine Pro only has a 1 gig. They both have SFP support, so this is specifically for, RJ45. The second point is that the Special Edition has built-in 128 gigabyte SSD storage. So
now let me ask you about that, because I noticed this has a bay in here. If you push on it, it opens up. Right. And it had a bay for a hard drive. I had no idea. I just put in a 480 gig solid state hard drive, but I have no idea what it does. And I was talking to Zac, I don't know what it has, a bay for a hard drive. Let's put a hard drive in, and then we'll figure out what that's for later. And it picked it up right away. So what's that for? What do I store there?
So, right now you're running just Unify Network. But this Dream Machine Special Edition can allow you to hook in the Unify Protect security cameras, so you would record your footage there. We have Unify Talk VoIP phones, so you can, save any call recordings there. Yeah, perfect, right here. Door access, anything that you need to save for door access, any of the users, that sort of stuff. That hard drive just helps with any of that storage there.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that you have, we were looking at, list of everything has like switches and routers, and then we have all these video recordings and all these access, and it just, how big is it? What else do you guys have besides all the networking and security stuff?
Yeah, so it's pretty vast in terms of the Unify core platform and what can you run on this, say Dream Machine. It would be all of your networking, your camera security. We have the VoIP phones. You have, door access, scanning in, elevators, things like that.
And I assume it's as easy as setting up this switch. You just plug whatever, and then it will find it and do all for you.
Exactly. Right.
Now,
That's
and I also, I mean, I started playing with it a little bit and trying to figure things out. And I noticed like you can make this like the core, as you said, the firewall, and then the DHCP servers running on it right now. I saw something about radios and stuff, so I could create databases with users and do my radio server in here as well.
totally, yeah. So there's an onboard radius server, so you can like configure it natively, or if you're, hosting it somewhere else, you can just go and point to that and integrate with that third-party radius.
Okay. So, well, later, if there are any things here that I have to edit, I'll probably just cover my IP address, I guess. I don't know. Not that people don't know, can't scan it. But then training for this, where can you get training for this, or what's the process? Is there like a wiki page where you can just go and have a step-by-step on how to do things, or what do you get? Do you have an official training program?
So we do. We have an official training program, and I can drop the link there right
Please,
now.
put it on the chat. Anything you put in the chat, even if you guys have questions too, or any other links, put it there and we'll add it to the recording, to the notes. Sweet. See, radius.
Yeah, I'll drop this there. So we do have an official training, all regions, you can go. Right now it is for in-person classes, and we have certified trainers, and that's just so that you can be with other people learning it, getting the hardware, and being able to test out the stuff as you go.
Okay, perfect. All right, Dream Machine. Anybody here question about the Dream Machine? We're gonna move on to the switches then. Unified devices.
Yeah, I got a question.
Right. Yeah.
Go back to that pane that you had the features on the Dream Machine. Just trying to find out from the security perspective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right
security.
here.
Yeah, security. Yeah. Okay. So can let's say, for example, I have some offices that actually have like sonic wall firewalls.
Mm-hmm.
I can just put the sonic wall in front of this guy and uplink it to basically in front of the ISP, and that shouldn't be a problem, right?
You mean, hang on, Gabriel, let me show you a topology. You mean like right here?
Right here, yeah, right here.
Yeah. Okay,
So
perfect.
it would be ideal just because of the double natting. I guess it depends what you want. Typically the Dream Machine, we'd recommend using it as the gateway and security there.
Okay.
There's ways where you can link that gateway into third-party gateways. But if you're insistent on saying, yeah, I want to use this third-party gateway, that's where you would use something like a cloud key, which doesn't have the inbuilt, firewall and all of that. So it would just be purely for the management of your networking equipment. And that would probably be a better alternative.
Okay, got you. Cloud key, got you. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Last week, Gabriel was in class with me last week, and there was a guy, Alex, I don't remember what company he worked for, but he said, didn't he say, Gabriel, that they were in the process of like trying to get everything replaced with Ubiquiti stuff?
Yeah, I was Alex, right?
Yeah, it was Alex. Yeah, so when I show him this, actually he told me about a couple things that I didn't know. I kind of forgot what it was at the moment, but then he's like, oh yeah, I know that. And then he kind of explained a couple things on the fly, and like, oh, that's really cool. How about VPN? Looks like there's VPN here, so I can install. I'm sure I'll just get the instructions on how to configure stuff. Now, Zach, you said you use WireGuard somewhere?
Yeah, I use WireGuard between a few of my where like my parents' house, my brother's house, like we all are connected with WireGuard. So
VPN. Now, there are some people out there talking about, oh, VPN is a thing of the past and that's just disappearing, but still need it, right? Site to site.
I have one question, before you go ahead. What's about the license? Is it some kind of license model, or some is from
no licenses whatsoever?
No license. All right.
Correct.
Wow.
Great.
And you had mentioned, Zach, like the WireGuard, you guys connect together. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll see if I can share my screen. I just might have to monitor for a couple things. But we have what's called Site Magic. And say you have 5 Dream Machine Pros all over. You can actually just set up an instant site-to-site VPN between them. you know, you can see all of your different sites and say, well, I want to create a VPN between this one, this one, this one. You can pick the subnets on them, and then it just works, right? In the background, we're running OSPF to share all of the routes and you know, take care of that, but it's all instant, you know.
Yeah. Well, so much to learn. I guess for us, one thing that I would be interested in doing in the very, very near future would be the radius stuff. Because, you know, for Wi-Fi, we need a radius authenticator all the time. And then is it better to use local databases, or I mean, for my environment? Of course, you know, other places will have their Active Directory and LDAP servers and stuff, and I'm sure you can just link all that stuff from here. But then in my case, just easy to create accounts here and just have people authenticate against the Dream Machine.
Totally, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And regarding like the AD, LDAP, all of that, that's one of the current initiatives we have is making it easier to share via those services.
Okay. See, I forgot what it was. Where's where I saw the radius stuff? Oh, right here. I passed it. Something.
Right.
The new instance and stuff. All right. How about if I want to do link aggregation, where would I do that? Let's move on to a switch. Should I, or where should I go from here, Craig?
Sure. So if you go to your unified devices page or the topology, either of those ones work.
Oh, okay. So here I can zoom in. Let's start with the 24 port, which is the one that is like right next to the oh, here, let me make this smaller. Ah, there you go. Come on. Come on. Just had it on another window and now there, hang on. This stupid thing. Okay.
So yeah, if you go and click that port manager button.
This one.
Correct. Here's where you can see all of the different devices and start managing your ports more. So it's right on here that you can go in and select a port and you can enable your link aggregation between them. Right now, it's standard link aggregation, but you know, we have some things coming up. I would probably say coming up later this year. I can't say more in terms of other types of link aggregation.
Load protection of the map. And I think that one of the things, the visualization helps to know what's plugged in on each port, the level of PoE that it has, and what's on the other side. Like this is the port where the uplink to the Dream Machine is. Now I'm looking from the switch to the Dream Machine. And then I can also just go straight to the Dream Machine from here. And then again, it shows that here I have my, my connection to the 24 port. That's a 10 gig DAC. And this one is my connection to my 48 port. That's the 10 gig link. So if this visibility, I think I find it, you know, so easy to just navigate because, you know, just by looking at it, what's there. And again, the colors, here's where you know this is a 2.5 gig connection to those access points. And then you can configure the colors. Can you remind me what the colors? I remember I saw that. I think Zach and I kind of stumbled across the color palette that you could set up.
Yes. So I'm not sure if in this version, I'm not sure if they're here yet, but try to click on one of those ports and see if you can configure it right there. If you scroll down.
Okay, I think that's as far as I go on that one.
Oh, wait, you should be able to scroll a little further, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it's right here, actually. Voice.
Got it. Okay, so it's not here yet. If you go to your unified devices page, so that's the circle icon on the left toolbar menu.
Dashboard or this? Oh, unified devices.
Yep.
And then
where is it? Oh, you want to filter for all. Right now it's just on Wi-Fi. Yep. And then if you select that switch.
Let's do this guy.
And I believe in settings, you should be able to.
Here we go. And then you can just specify which color you want the thing to glow. So you can identify those visually. Okay, perfect.
Correct. And
all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the other option, you're on speed right now, but the alternative is if you can show the colors by network. So if you have a lot of different VLANs going on, you can actually segment by those.
No way. And just put colors, just you can visually identify what's on what VLAN and stuff.
Exactly. So something that we have coming down the pipeline too is being able to use this for installation, being able to, say I have 10 sites, they're all branch offices that I configure the exact same way. I want to get somebody to go and install these. So I upload my template and within that, there's the port profiles that have the colors, and then the person right on the ground just goes and plugs things in based on those colors.
Okay. Okay, Zach, remind me, what other questions we have that day? One of the things I think helped a lot is just looking at each port and the traffic going through, which with Mr. Parsons, we're in the process of doing some testing. And of course, one of the things that we're always worried about is, is my app linked to the AP enough? So we will be able to see, what the traffic's like when you're looking at any port. I haven't had a chance to mount these guys or configure them properly, but I do have all kind of APs, Mist and Rackus, Aruba, Cisco, and just knowing where they go and how they're connected, it helps a lot. So, okay, Craig, go ahead. Continue, because I mean there's so much. It's just hard to identify exactly what we want to ask you. What do you want to tell us about the entire environment that I have here that I can benefit from as a Wi-Fi professional, looking at statistics, or how can this type of equipment with the interface that it has will make our lives easier?
Yeah, totally. So let me see, you're in the Unified Devices tab. Select the third one down from there.
The 48
so
port?
It's the wave under the 4 ports on the left side menu.
Oh, this one. Okay, the third one.
So go down.
The waves, here we go.
That one. Yes. So one thing that we've been really trying to build out too is, being able to manage larger amounts of access points. The channelization is going to be important, being able to see what access points are having, problems, TX retries, stuff like that. So we're really working on building out those dashboards that allow you to see this holistically and being able to really bring front and center what matters most, right? Is there a certain access point that has a lot of TX retries? Great, here you should know about that. Are there certain access points where we see average low signal strengths? Great, then you should know about that, because maybe there's some improvements there, whether it's installing a new access point or just better configuring your power settings, things like that. We try to bring those front and center.
Okay. Now this one is very tabular format, like a Wi-Fi Explorer Pro. Gives you visual information. In the case that I don't have, because this one is just scanning the using the unified devices I have in here, correct?
Correct, yes.
And then you can configure some of those in monitor mode, some of the radios, or how is this getting this data?
So as of right now, I believe it's just listening in and it's hearing beacons.
Just scanning and getting beacons. Okay.
Exactly.
Now this Wi-Fi man, can you tell us about it?
Yep. So we have a Wi-Fi Man mobile app. What you can do is you can connect it, if you're connected to your Unified Dream Machines network and you run a speed test there, this will, be able to log and archive those speed tests for you.
Wi-Fi Man. I guess hello, or I don't haven't. Okay. And what's the device you plug in, put behind your phone that I know Mr. Parsons got one? Is that what it's called, Wi-Fi Man?
So that is called the Wi-Fi Man Wizard. So that's an extension of this and basically allows you to, enhance the range and add a couple additional features on for it, just in terms of the analytics that you collect.
Okay. Ooh, look at that. So this is my phone through the Dream Machine out to the internet. X-Mission. X-Mission? They still around, Zach? X-Mission Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I've heard that name still.
Yeah, they I think that was the first ISP we had in Utah. They're like dial-up. I used to have an account with X-Mission. Okay. What else can I do with this X-Man? Report, issue, done.
So yeah, a nice other little feature here. Yeah, so there's the signal mapper there that you were on. It might take a minute to load for
This
you.
one?
But basically what happens is this is as you walk around, you can actually generate a floor plan, you know, looking at signal strength, latency, that sort of stuff.
Oh, like do a survey then.
Exactly.
With the phone.
Exactly. So it uses some of like the built-in intelligence, so you can, you know, point it at the walls and ceilings, and that can be used to generate a map as you're walking it around. So it'll know, oh, there's a room here, there's a room there, and as you go and walk around, it'll log what the signal strength was in that area and attribute a color to it.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those wizards then, because this is definitely something that is really cool to play with. Okay, well, Craig, there's so much. There's so much because this is like a comprehensive solution that goes from the firewall gateway, one connectivity to the LAN side, and then you have also the ability to integrate security and stuff. And then behind it, the switches and the visibility and manageability that you get for every device in your network is, for me, unprecedented in the small world where I live in. But I think this can benefit many people in many environments, small, and apparently now you're aiming at the large enterprise environments. And Zach, imagine this when we were back at the district with thousands upon thousands of devices and hundreds of switches in 50 different buildings in 5 cities. I mean, having a visibility like this would be nice, huh? Because what did we have back then? IMC, the one from, but again, it was like too, I don't know, it was not as user friendly. I don't know, maybe I'm just too excited, as a guy said last week, like, well, that's because it's all new and you just like, yeah, but still, I mean, it's just firsthand, everything's right there. What else can I ask for? Craig, what haven't I asked? What do you want to show us that is like, wow, I wish I had known that, you know, or I didn't know you could do that?
Yeah, that's a good question here. Like you said, there's a lot to it. I mean, I think that the biggest part about this is the ability to do basically everything you need from one area, right? Like there's a lot of places where you need to integrate this and integrate that, but we really emphasize making it easy and just being able to do it from one single pane of glass.
And then again, for many of the Wi-Fi guys, will be manageability of an environment where you can just group APs and WLANs and applying updates and upgrades and have the visibility of the clients connected to all of them. I don't have any clients connected right now to the Ubiquiti APs that I have, but then that's all I think I'll be doing is playing with it and gathering stuff. And as I have more questions, I will start documenting things and asking you, bothering you.
Totally.
You're gonna regret you gave me your phone number, but then but I will be sharing all that and documenting as much as we can so that we can let others in the community know of you know, these other options. That Ubiquiti is not just, you know, point-to-points or, you know, entry-level APs. You're hitting the enterprise environment. You know what type of chipsets do you use in your on the Wi-Fi for the Wi-Fi?
Qualcomm.
Qualcomm. Okay.
So one thing I do want to point out is if you go into the settings and go to the security area, one thing that I really like here, security, the traffic and firewall rules. So, you know, I really like this area. We have, you know, the traditional firewall where you can go and get granular control of specific ports and things like that. But what we also did is we made it a very easy way to do common things that a network admin would want to do, right? Like, do you want to isolate your VLANs? Great. Like, we have one button ways of isolating specific VLANs. You can do that at the gateway level. You can do that at the switch level. You can isolate devices from other devices on the network, right? We give the tools to do this very easily with a single click. So that's why I particularly like these traffic rules here, right? You go in, you select some applications, you select a network, and you can easily say, all right, isolate this network. Don't allow these applications. Okay, speed limit these applications. It's very easy to do and self-guided.
And it will do it. I mean, when you say speed limit, are you doing it at the Dream Machine level, or are you doing at the, like, if you're on a Wi-Fi device? We're not, because I'm against rate limiting Wi-Fi. Some people are like, oh, we do rate limiting Wi-Fi to make it slow. Like, Wi-Fi, it's already slow. Try to make it any slower. So
the speed limits is at the gateway level.
Sweet. And then you can just do it, you said per network or VLAN, you can just do different segmentation here.
Totally.
Okay. Well,
so yeah, this one I like in specific because I've worked with a lot of customers who are like, oh, this is broken, this communication isn't working how I expect, and I go through and it's, they're trying to use 10 different firewall rules for the same basic thing. And I was like, well, does this work? And they're like, well, yeah, that does. So that's a nice little hack, as I would say.
Simplify things. Oh, well, we will definitely, once I learn more and Zac was going to start playing with this stuff as well. We'll have more questions, and then we will definitely ask you and document it and share it with the community. That's what we do. So Ubiquiti, man, not only Wi-Fi, also, now we have a Dream Machine that does VPN, that's security, firewall. You'll have everything on the one page. I think one of the things that helps when you have one vendor doing all of these things is that you got no one to blame. See, we always have if something, it's the firewall people, so a different brand. If you had ours and then they start blaming, it's the switching people, it's the Wi-Fi guys, and that having everything under the same roof, kind of like, in my point of view, kind of helps, because better visibility, and you don't have to log into 6 different things to a DHCP server, DNS, and firewall, one router, everything's right here.
Yep, exactly.
So I hear we will have a one for evaluation, right? So
sorry, what was that question?
I hear from Fahrenheit we will have one Dream Machine Pro for evaluation, right?
Yeah, it's right here. I'll give you a VPN access.
This is fine. This is work as well.
Yeah, no, we'll be learning from this, and of course, one of the things Craig asked me is, any feedback we can give also helps you tremendously. As we're testing this, if I come across something and say, oh man, I wish you did this, maybe you do, I just don't know how to do it. But then if we come across something like that, we'll definitely be letting you know. And
I have one quick question. It's mandatory you need to have this cloud-based access, right? So you cannot have on-prem.
What if I don't have an internet connection? Will they unify
discovery
locally?
Yes, it will.
Right.
Now, one thing we didn't get to, and I don't know, I had a little bit of a struggle making it work. This thing has an AR that you scan the front of the, here, let me see if I can just share my phone here real quick. Again, it's actually right here. Never mind. Hang on. So if I go over to, Unify, if I go to AR, so it scans the switch. Oh no, it didn't work for us. Oh, how do I make the middle, right?
Seems like it was working on the gateway. And
do I have to be in the gateway for getting the AR thing to work?
Do you have to be connected? Are you asking?
Oh no, like if I have to scan the gateway, or if I scan whatever device I want to AR on.
Yeah, it should work on any device.
Is it my camera? I have to be closer.
Out of focus.
Out of focus, huh? I don't know, I couldn't make it work. I don't know, I'll play with it later, but then do you have a video or something that shows that in action, or you have something that you can share? Because that was really cool. It kind of like you move around the phone and it will show you the ports and what's connected to them and stuff. Kind of like gives you a visibility of the port manager, but on AR, right? On the phone, just by looking at it.
Let me see if I can find a video of this here.
I also like to know if it has packet capture capabilities on switch ports and maybe over the air also for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so it's something that we're working on, but it's not in production at the moment.
Okay. Not there now, but coming. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because that's one of the things that we always struggle with is, doing packet captures.
At least we can do port mirroring, I guess.
Yes, you can mirror the ports.
Okay.
Yes, well, let me back to the question regarding the cloud, because many companies, they are afraid to put so much information on the cloud, right? So there is a policy in many companies where they want to have this kind of things or information on the cloud. So there is some kind of deployment, what you are now in cloud, I mean, on-prem or something like that?
Yeah, so the cloud part is not a requirement at all. You can set up purely local access and everything works great that way. With something like a Dream Machine Pro, the one thing I did want to reiterate is, it is a hybrid cloud method. We have a full cloud hosted solution for people who want, but something like the Dream Machine Pro, it is a hybrid cloud. So all of your stuff lives on premise. The cloud is basically used to broker the remote connection. So you would then directly connect to that Dream Machine. But once again, that's not a requirement at all.
So watch this. This is the port. Is my screen on your screen? Okay, if I want to locate this port, I just hit the locate button. And then if I come over here, this is what I was showing you. It turns off all the lights and then it just makes that glow. So you know which port we're talking about. You can do multiples at the same time. Right, Craig? Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So I think that's a cool feature because many times we're just trying to identify what's plugged in, but the documentation it provides is great. All right, Craig, I don't know. I think that we're getting to the end of the hour. We'll try to keep this short. I really, really appreciate, the gear and your time. And just, I know Mondays are usually extremely busy. Thanks for making time to come and teach us and hang out with us here for a little bit. This will be uploaded. I'll have to do probably some editing on my stuff that, we don't want to show the world. Gabriel, thanks for joining us. Alejandro, Carlos, Zach, thanks for coming too, and David. So, Craig, anything else?
No, I really, really appreciate you guys for having me, and yeah, look forward to doing more. I work with the stuff every day. I think a lot of cool stuff. So I would love to, share as much as I can.
Okay. Now, Carlos was asking, what about migrating devices from one console to another one? What is the reason to do it using the reset button in the switch devices? Does that make sense to you, Craig?
So there's a number of ways to migrate devices. The easiest is, if you have one Dream Machine Pro and you're migrating it to another, you can use, your cloud backups to do that. There's ways of just pointing the device elsewhere. If you are using, say, a cloud key or what we would refer to as a multi-site console that has multiple all linked to it, we have a drop down by the device and you can just say move to this and it'll just transfer it all over there.
How about professional services? Can you pay Ubiquiti to have some level of support? You can just call them and get, stuff.
Yeah. So right now there is 24-hour professional phone support. So we just expanded that to, the 24 hours here. We built out a team in the US and now expanded that to EU. So we're continuing to grow that program, but the short of it is yes, we don't offer those professional services, and I'll drop a link for that too.
Oh, perfect. All right, guys, any more questions? I mean, this is fascinating, this cool stuff. We're always learning and trying to find things that will make our life easier as professionals, because that also makes our life, personal life, you know, less stressful.
Hey, Craig, one more question, just to get
Sure.
What's the device you mentioned to me? Cloud Key?
Cloud Key, that's correct.
Gotcha. All right.
Is that a, what is it?
So
What device is it?
Yep. So a Unify console is what we refer to as the device that's running the Unify software. So in your case, the Dream Machine SE, that's a Unify console, but since it has the built-in gateway, we refer to it specifically as a cloud gateway. You can think of the Cloud Key as the Dream Machine, but without a gateway in it.
Oh, okay. So it's an appliance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, because yeah, I was thinking, you know, it sounds like it's a key, like a USB key that you plug into, I don't know, authenticate or something like that. Okay, so it's an appliance that you would use then for doing these things with that. All right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, Craig, amigo, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure learning from you today. Thanks everybody for joining us, and until next time, se les quiere gratis, what we say in Spanish, you know, we'll love you for free. Anytime that we get together, we just share and have a good time and learn. So
thank you very much. It was
sharing
very
your knowledge
interesting.
with us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Very interesting product. So let's continue to do these things. Fine.
I love it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thanks for coming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
I'll see you next time. Craig, I'll probably just leave your email in the list of Tesos, so you'll be receiving notifications every week. You don't have to come. This on Fridays is very informal. We just kind of like, you know, hang out and talk, and we'll be talking about Ubiquiti every week for sure. So
Awesome.
welcome
Thank
to
you
join.
very much.
And yeah, and then for those of listening to us or watching us after the fact, everything's saved on the Wi-Fi of things.com. The Wi-Fi of things.com. Yeah, last Friday I haven't uploaded that one, but yes, this one will be uploaded there, session 188, and these are the other ones. So
Great.
we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Until
Thank
next
you.
time. take care.
Have a nice day, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah,
Alejandro.
bye.
Gracias, David.
Thank you.
Zach, ciao.
Bye. See you.